They got a lock on us. Engine's been hit.
Get us out of here.
I'm losing control.
Cyberpunk 2077, the most hyped game of the decade and the most awaited release of the year, is finally out. The game had crossed 8 million pre-orders before its official release and 1 million concurrent players on Steam on the release date, breaking all the records and claiming the title of the biggest single-player games in the history of games, or maybe ever. But once you stop viewing it from the spectrum of the fanboy lens, you'll find that the game is underwhelming.
To Jurassic Park.
Dare I say disappointing. It does not live up to the standards set by The Witcher 3, or a decade worth of hype. This clip is just one of several examples floating around in the wild. This begs the question, is Cyberpunk 2077 a rushed game? And if it is, who is to be blamed? This is Nighton and you're watching Trigger 2. With Cyberpunk 2077, CD Projekt Red aimed to deliver something far more ambitious than what they or anyone else in the industry had ever dreamed of. Densely packed streets, a lived-in city that felt alive no matter where you lived, and fast-paced action sequences. The sheer crowd density and Night City's AI is taxing on the old-gen consoles, which leaves little room for the graphics. And here's where the problem arises. CD Projekt Red's main development system for the most ambitious game ever were actually 7-year-old consoles that had already started to show their age. Textures are not displayed or are blurry. Low resolutions, breaks, freezes, interface lag, numerous bugs, and frame rate drop are just a few of the problems to mention. Even the beefiest of PCs with Nvidia 30 series GPU are grinding hard to keep up with the thirst of Cyberpunk. So forget about 7-year-old consoles. Even if you factor out the poor PC optimizations, which are kind of expected out of a game this big, there's no excuse for Cyberpunk to be looking like that on current-gen consoles, its development platforms, when Red Dead Redemption 2 looked like this.
You know, I might have met these crazies before.
You been drinking again?
No. Well, yes, but no, that's not how I might have met them.
I do believe that graphics aren't everything. Just look at a few indie titles out this year. But Cyberpunk's charm lies in the glittering Night City. The glitters that you cannot witness on the last-gen consoles. If graphics were the sole competitors here, I'd put this game in the PS3 or Xbox 360 era. A few may try to justify the shortcomings of Cyberpunk 2077 by giving it a tag of an overhyped game. But considering the fact that this is the game from the developers of The Witcher 3, features the almighty Keanu as a main character, and most importantly, has been in development for over a decade, I say all the hype is justified. I firmly believe that Cyberpunk has been rushed. It was not meant for the current-gen consoles. CD Projekt Red should have taken their sweet time and released the game sometime in 2021 or maybe even 22 for the next-gen consoles. To put it in the words of Shigeru Miyamoto, the director of Nintendo, a delayed game is eventually good, but a rushed game is forever bad. Although that quote is from the pre-internet era, where there was nothing such as post-release update. You know, me and you and the whole gaming community at large are also a part of the problem here. We've all been at CD Projekt Red's heel, shouting at them to release the game. Every time the game was delayed, fans were angry with the developers instead of being sympathetic. Let's not forget the developers had been crunching for over a year at the game, and given its current stage, will quite likely do it for another year as well. At the time of making this video, 4 updates have already rolled out, and it's been what, like 2 days since the game released? Did all that stop me from buying the game? Absolutely not. although it's a totally different subject that I couldn't run it on my PC, even though it was above, or at least at the minimum requirements. Cyberpunk 2077 is still a great game. It's not fully ready, and to anyone who wants to experience the game in its full glory, I'd ask them to wait a few months, or maybe even a year, for the updates and patches that will roll out in the future. But if you're like me, who's been eagerly waiting for the game for 7 years, you can play it at the cost of ruining your expectations set for the game. Today, what we have in our hands is a mediocre version of a great game. Cyberpunk 2077 is a classic in making. 10 years from now, all we'll remember is how great the game was, and forget all about the bugs that initially plagued the game. Even if you finish the game now, it will be worth coming back to when CD Projekt Red fully finishes it. So what do you think about Cyberpunk 2077? Are you gonna buy it right now, or wait till CDPR finally fixes it? Tell me down in the comments. A sub to the channel would be treasured.